Today we are rebuilding Rangers, who have won the Scottish League title a record 55 times, the Scottish Cup 34 times and the Scottish League Cup 28 times, as well as winning the domestic treble on 7 separate occasions. They remained in the top flight up until the 2011-12 season, where financial crisis saw them be liquidated and they had to reform in the Scottish 4th tier. From there they managed to get their way back into the Scottish Premiership for the start of the 2016-17 season, and while in those lower divisions they managed to be the first team in Scotland and the only club still to have won every single domestic trophy in the country. Under Steven Gerrard in the 2020-21 season, Rangers managed to win the Scottish Premiership the first time in 10 years, and that meant they won their 55th league title. This also stopped rivals Celtic in their quest to break the record, and they stopped them winning 10 in a row. Both Rangers and Celtic have both won 9 in a row previously, and Steven Gerrard managed to stop it going to 10. Today we're going to take 5 seasons to see if we can turn Rangers back into the top team in Scottish football, see if we can wrestle those league titles and cups away from Celtic, and see if we can do anything in Europe. Here we are today with Rangers, the most successful team in Scottish football. They are a club that have been on the downturn, as we mentioned in the preview, with Celtic dominating Scottish football for the past 15 years. If we take a look at the club's finances, we will see that we have £10 million in the bank. However, we've only been given a budget of £800,000. When looking at the squad, you can see the squad's good, but it's not as good as Celtic, so we really need to rebuild the squad into somebody that can challenge for trophies. We're going to go to the end of the transfer window and see if we've been able to spend this £800,000, see if we manage to get any other movements, see if we can try and dominate Scotland once again. Here we are back at the start of the season. Scottish League Cup, we have Hearts in the quarter-final. Scottish Cup we've not entered. Unfortunately, you can see we've been knocked out 6-4 by PSV in the Champions League qualifiers, meaning we go into the Europa League group stage with Sporting, Freiburg and TSC. In terms of the league, we are second behind Celtic, but joint in points with 3 wins from 3. We're now going to go and see exactly how we've managed to get on in the transfer market. The first player to leave us was backup goalkeeper John McLaughlin. The 35-year-old Scotsman went away to West Brom for £48,000, potentially rising to £64,000. Unfortunately, just wasn't going to play for us this season, so I thought we may as well get him off the books, save a bit of money, especially when money is tight at the first season here. Ryan Jackson, another player that we've let go, he's away to Las Palmas for £375,000. Unfortunately, again, he just wasn't going to play for us. He is a bit of an injury-prone player, so I thought we'll try and get somebody younger, could do the same job as him. For £375,000, I couldn't turn that down. We've also let Scotsman Scott Wright go on loan to Hibernian. Again, just wasn't going to play for us. I thought we'll get some of his wages off the books. Hopefully, if he has a good season, we might be able to sell him next year, generate a bit more income for season 2. And the first player in is Alvaro Fidalgo, who we have managed to sign from America and Mexico for £1.6 million. Looks like a great little central midfielder. He has great determination, flair, good pass and good vision. He can be a great little playmaker for us, and at 26 years old he's already in the best years of his career, so hopefully he can do a job for us. Next up is the 20-year-old Polish goalkeeper Kasper Tobias, valued now between 11 and £14.5 million. We managed to sign him from Legia Warsaw for £3 million, so he looks like he could be our goalkeeper for the 5-season rebuild, and if not, we'll be able to sell him for a nice little profit. Next up is one that my scouts brought me, and it is Juan Pablo Rodriguez, a young Argentine centre-back. We've sent him on loan already to Queen's Park in the Championship. We signed him for £250,000. Hopefully he can develop well on the season on loan, maybe come in, play for us for a couple of seasons. If not, we can hopefully move him on for some money. Next up was the free signing of Jesse Lingard, the 30-year-old Englishman. In real life he's just moved to South Korea, but he has played for Manchester United, West Ham and Nottingham Forest, so he's got a wealth of experience. He's came in for free and he's already valued between 9 and £12 million, so hopefully he can be vital in our push to win domestic trophies once more. And the last signing, and probably my favourite, is Rodrigo Riquelme on loan from Atletico Madrid. Can play absolutely anywhere in the midfield. The 23-year-old Spaniard is probably going to play on the right hand side for us, but I'll show you the tactic in just a minute so you'll get a look at that. In terms of contract, we might be able to pick him up for just under £8 million at the end of the season, but I don't know if we will get that sort of money next year. So we'll now go and look at the tactic and see exactly how these players will fit in. So tactically we're going to be running with a variation of a 4-4-2 with the DM here. You can see the wing backs on attack with the defensive midfielder. He'll cover this sort of area while the inverted winger goes here. This will be because we have James Tavernier who will be the right back. And if you're unfamiliar with James Tavernier, he is a goal scoring right back. He takes free kicks and he takes penalties, I do understand. but from open play this man also scores a lot of goals. Can play right wing back, can play right back. He is the captain, 31 years old. We might not have him the entire rebuild, but for the time we do have him, I want to utilise his strengths. So we want him going up and down the right hand side as much as possible, getting crosses in, banging in the goals, getting the assists. That is who we will build the team around. I'm not going to keep anyone stuck in position. I'm just going to let the assistant manager decide who goes where, and hopefully it'll work out in this first season. We'll go now and look at the fixtures for the Champions League. We can see, unfortunately, we lost to Servette in the first round before being knocked out by PSV, as we saw. But there we go. We have the potential to win 4 trophies this season. Whether we do it or not is something that we'll need to wait and see. So we'll jump ahead right now to the end of the first season. So we are at the end of season 1, and we can see we've been knocked out in the Europa League group stage. But it did mean we went into the Europa Conference League and we have won it. We have beaten Fiorentina in the final. If we take a look, we can see we knocked out Hajduk on penalties in the knockout playoff round before knocking out Beitar Jerusalem 6-0. In the quarterfinals, we then beat Eintracht Frankfurt 4-1. That's revenge for the Europa League final in 2022 where they beat us. And then, in an absolute classic, 8-8 on aggregate, we managed to beat Osasuna on penalties to make it through to the final, where, as we saw, we beat Fiorentina to lift the first European trophy of this rebuild. And going back to look at the other trophies, we can see we won the Scottish League Cup, beating Celtic 2-1 there in the final. We lost the Scottish Cup 1-0 to Celtic, unfortunately. And in the league, we can see we have won the league. We've won the league in the first season with 97 points, only one more point than Celtic, so they were hot on our heels the entire season. When we look at the player stats here, we can see Fabio Silva managed to get third in the top goal scorer with 20 goals. He's a player that is on loan in Rangers in real life, moved this January. We are on an updated database, so he is at the club. Had a very good first season for us. As you can see, 39 goals in all competitions, so hopefully we'll be able to keep him in the summer. We'll need to wait and see. In terms of average rating, obviously Fabio Silva, James Tavernier's up there, and in terms of assists, you've got Matondo and Rodrigo Riquelme. Looking at the squad stats, we can see Fabio Silva with 39 goals, Danilo with 29, Tavernier with 17 goals with his 16 assists. I told you the right wing back, right back would be key for us. Dessers gets 17 goals, Sima gets 16 on loan from Brighton. I don't think we've got an option to buy, and if we do, it'll probably be too high. No, we don't have an option to buy, so unfortunately we'll be losing out on him. You can also see Rodrigo Riquelme get 12 goals along with his 20 assists, Kemar Roof get 11 goals, and Fidalgo and Cantwell each get 10. In terms of assists, you can see Rodrigo Riquelme with 20, Tavernier with 16, Matondo with 15, Cifuentes 13. So goals and assists are spread out really well around here. If we take a look and see how much money we've got to spend next season, it is just £2 million, so we might need to go and sell a couple of players, maybe rejig things to get this rebuild really going. But overall, a very good first season. We've won a treble in our first season, so hopefully that can continue. So here we are at the start of season 2, and as you can see, we are joint top with Celtic with 4 wins from 4. In terms of transfers, Tom Lawrence has left the club for £2.6 million to Hibernian. Unfortunately, again, just a player that we weren't going to use. He's 30 years old. I thought we'll get his wages off the books, we'll generate some income to reinvest in the squad. Another player leaving was unfortunately Connor Goldson, who is away to Aston Villa. He's 31 years old. He was solid for us last season, but he's away for £12.5 million, rising to just over 15. He didn't want to stay anymore. When Aston Villa came calling, you know, we're not going to really be able to hold on to him when the Premier League are wanting you. And in terms of signings this season, unfortunately Fabio Silva we couldn't get on loan or sign him permanently, so instead we have signed Yusuf Chermiti in on loan from Everton. Unfortunately, we do not have an option to buy, so it'll just be one season, one and done for Chermiti. Hopefully he can replace the goals lost by Silva. We then signed the midfielder Theo Zidane in on a free contract after his contract with Real Madrid expired. Not as good obviously as his father, but he looks like he could be a great little player in the midfield for us. He's got good technique, he's got good flair, decent enough vision and passing, so he could be a great little player. He's only 22 years old, so he can develop still. One of my favourite signings is Alex Vale, 20-year-old Spaniard from the Messiah Youth Academy at Barcelona. We have brought him in for £2.8 million, already valued between £16 and £22 million. He can play right the way down the left-hand side. He could be a vital player for us, and if not, we'll be selling him in a few years for a massive markup. Next player is Lorenzo Luca for £5 million. Another great striker, another good steal. He's only on £25,000 a week. He's got great heading ability, he's determined, he's got great jumping reach, and he's 6'7". So this player for just £5 million, now valued between 11.5 and 14.5 million, could be a great striker in the blue of Rangers. Hopefully he manages to lead us to some more trophies. And I know it's a rebuild and he's 39, but Thiago Silva is somebody that when I saw he wanted to come and I saw he was available, I just could not pass that up. He only cost us £1.1 million. Obviously, it's not rising to anything else because he's going to retire at the end of the season, but for one season I thought, why not? Connor Goldson left, we couldn't really get anybody younger in that would be great, so I thought for one season, Thiago Silva, just look at his mentals, still great technical ability, this man will be key for us this season and for one season only. And last but not least, if you've seen me on Twitter, you know I love Scott McTominay. Top scoring player for Scotland at the Euro qualifiers, he's going to lift the Euro trophy this summer, I can feel it. But seriously, for as cheap as we bought him, we only signed him for £4.5 million, he's already valued between £14.5 and £60 million. He will be a key player in the rest of this rebuild. He's only 27, so he will last us this entire rebuild if he doesn't get another big money move down south, but I can't see that happening and I would like to keep a hold of him for as long as possible. And we're going to see exactly where he's going to slot in because this season we're running with a 4-4-2 diamond. So if I do a quick pick, you'll see he's currently on international duty, so he will be going in the ball-winning midfielder role for us when he's back. The only player I'm going to slot in is Tobias. I'm wanting him to take that position from Jack Butland this season. So there we have it. We can see we have a long way to go. We are in the League Cup quarter-final against Celtic. Scottish Cup not drawn yet. The Champions League, we'll take a look now and see who our fixtures are against. We have Rennes, Roma, Juventus, Panathinaikos, Bayer Leverkusen, Manchester City before finishing off with Shakhtar and Fenerbahce. So a bit of a tough lineup there, but we'll see exactly how we can get on. We'll go to the end of season number 2 right now. So season number 2 has ended, and as we can see, unfortunately we're not in the Champions League final. But we have won the Scottish Cup, beating Hibernian 1-0 in the final. That's 2 wins from 2 in that trophy. We've won the Scottish Cup, beating Celtic 2-1 in the final. And in the Champions League, we will just take a look and see how far we got. In the league phase, we're unfortunately 32nd with only 1 win, that being against Rennes. We drew against Shakhtar and Panathinaikos, and we get battered by Fenerbahce, Manchester City, Leverkusen, Juventus and Roma. So no surprises there, unfortunately, for us. In terms of the league this season, unfortunately we fell back quite a bit and we are 11 points behind Celtic this season. In terms of stats, Tavernier still up there among the top average rating. We can see Cantwell and Hadji both with 11 assists. But for this season, it's not been as good in terms of the league, but Danilo scored 27. James Tavernier got 22 goals a season to go with his 12 assists. Hadji, a player I forgot to mention, he was on loan last season at Alaves. He is the son of legendary player George Hadji, the Romanian. As you can see, just look at his technical ability. This guy is absolutely phenomenal. Physically, he's not great, but he is both-footed. He likes to try the killer ball off and shoot some distance, which is why he managed to score 17 goals and get 17 assists. He is a bit injury prone. He's had a couple of bad injuries in his time at Rangers, which is why he was away on loan. But just look at the value, 20 to 26 million pounds, 4-star ability. He is a brilliant player for the Scottish leagues. If we go back and look at the rest of some of the stats, we can see standouts are Alex Vale with 10 assists, absolutely brilliant for his first season in the club, and Scott McTominay 9 goals and 9 assists. In terms of money for this coming season, we have £3.76 million, but only a wage budget of £30,000, so we'll probably need to move that down a bit. So we'll probably only get about £2 million to spend. But there we have it, that is the end of season number 2. We'll now jump ahead to the start of September and see what kind of business we've done in the summer window. So unfortunately, Alvaro Fidalgo did not want to stay, and he didn't do as well for us as I had hoped. So he is away to Saudi Arabia for £2.4 million. He actually left in January, I didn't have any say in that, but he wasn't really getting much game time for us anyway, so it's unfortunate to see him go, but I think we're starting to get better players in the squad now that can cover his ability. Kieran Dowell has also left the club for £200,000. 27-year-old Englishman wasn't getting much game time. As you can see, he only played 3 times for Rangers. He's away to the 2nd division in Portugal, and unfortunately Kieran, your time has ended at the club. Another player who's leaving is Ridvan Yilmaz, a left back who I did not want to sell, but when a team from the Middle East in Qatar, £20 million comes in for him, he's going to want to go. He's on £56,000 a week, that's more than we were paying him, and for £20 million I can't say no to that, especially in a rebuild with a club whose finances are as tight as Rangers, unfortunately. In terms of ins, season 1 we had Fabio Silva, season 2 we had Chermiti, season 3 we have Vitor Roque, so The loan strikers are continuing to come in. This one in from Barcelona, I think we do have a £33 million auction fee. We'll never be able to afford that, so we'll just enjoy him for the year while we can. He's already got 6 goals in 5 games for us. He will be absolutely phenomenal playing in our 4-4-2. As you can see, he is valued between £29 and £36 million, so way above what we could expect from anybody. Another player coming in is the 20-year-old German Tariq Buchmann from Bayern Munich. Came to the Bayern Munich youth system. He's now valued between £15 and £17.5 million. We managed to pick him up for a measly £5 million. He is our long-term replacement for Connor Goldson. Obviously, Thiago Silva came in last year, but he's now retired, unfortunately. But Buchmann will be the man that will be at the heart of our defence for the rest of this rebuild. And last but not least, it is Renan Lodi, the left-back, left-winger, however you want to think of him. He's come in a free transfer after Yilmaz has left. Valued now between £10 and £11 million, so he could be a great little squad player for us in a variety of positions. And looking at the team this season, we are running with the same formation. We're going to stick to Bias and goals here, and we're going to have Victor Roque playing in the right-hand side here. Everybody else I'm just going to leave to the assistant manager, and we will see exactly how we get on. In terms of the fixture list this season, we can see that for the Champions League, we have been knocked out, unfortunately. Lost to Brøndby 2-1 the first leg, beaten 5-0 in the next leg. We then put out Wolfsburger, but then Feyenoord beat us, so that's 2 years out of the 3 that a Dutch side has put us out. And then that means in terms of the Europa League, this year we have FC Porto, Slavia Prague, Viking, Haken, Lazio, Club Brugge, Suzvetska from Montenegro and Wolfsburg. So that is how our group stage lines up. In the Viaplay Scottish Cup we have Celtic in the quarterfinals, not entered the Scottish Cup yet, but we are already 3 points off the pace for the league, 3 points behind Celtic after 4 games, so we'll need to try and make that up. But I'd like to see us get through the Europa League group stage. We'll see if that can happen. We'll now just go to the end of the 3rd season and see how we do. So here we are on the competition screen, and if you've noticed, for those eagle-eyed of you, in the middle we have won our 2nd European trophy. We have beaten Porto 2-1 in the final. If we take a look at the league phase, we can see we finished in 5th. We beat Suzvetska, Haken, Viking, Slavia Prague and Porto 6-2, drew with Wolfsburg and Club Brugge, and we lost to Lazio, which meant in the knockout playoff round, we obviously skipped that. In the round of 16, we beat Lazio. This time we beat them 2-1 on an aggregate after they beat us in the league phase. We then beat Wolfsburg on penalties to go through to the semi-finals, where we beat Atalanta 3-2 before, as we saw, we won 2-1 in the final against Porto. Alex Vale 7 assists throughout the competition, so he's done phenomenal for us there. And in terms of other cups, we lost in the Scottish League Cup quarter-final to Celtic. We were runners-up in the Scottish Cup, losing to Celtic there. And in terms of the league, we have won it this year. Won it with 86 points, just 2 ahead of Celtic this year. In terms of goals, Victor Roque is top with 20. Alex Vale's 3rd in the average ratings list with his 12 assists here. In terms of the squad stats, we're running a much smaller squad, unfortunately. This year we've got 26 goals from Lorenzo Luca, 24 from Dino, 10 from Hadji. Assists-wise, we've got 24 from Vale, 12 from Cantwell, and 11 from McTominay. Obviously the lone players are away here, so we will take a look and see how Roque got on. Victor Roque for us managed to score 31 goals and get 12 assists, so he played absolutely phenomenal for us. So we have it. We've not done as well domestically. We've won 1 out of the 3 trophies this year, but we have won the Europa League. And for that, we are getting a total of £12 million to spend in our next season. So we'll come back in September and see exactly how much money we have spent, see how we've managed to reshape the squad ahead of season number 4. So at the start of season number 4, we can see we have won our 3rd European trophy. We have beaten Bayern Munich in the UEFA Super Cup, so that's 3 European trophies for this rebuild. In terms of Scottish League Cup, we are in the quarterfinals against Dunfermline, and as you can see, Celtic are already knocked out of the Scottish League Cup, which is phenomenal for us. That will probably, fingers crossed, be another one in the bag. We've not entered the Scottish Cup. In terms of the Champions League, we will take a look at the fixtures in a wee minute, but the league, we are already 3 points off the pace, and we are in 5th place, unfortunately, after only beating Aberdeen and Inverness 5-0 apiece. Drew with St Mirren, and we also lost to Hearts, so we're already off the pace there. But in terms of transfers, in terms of the outs this year, Scott Wright has left. He is away to Hearts for free. Unfortunately, we weren't going to play him, so I thought get his wages off the books, free up a space in the squad. Next player to leave was Adam Devine for £375,000. Could play both right back and left back. Unfortunately, wasn't going to get too much game time for us, so we thought we'll let him go. He wanted to leave, so I just decided to cash in while we could. And another player to leave is Zach Loveless, away to Hearts for £375,000. If you look at his attributes, unfortunately he just wasn't going to get much game time for us, so I thought, why not just take the money while we could and improve his career elsewhere. And in terms of the ins, the ever-going merry-go-round of strikers at Rangers continues. This time it is the free signing of Liam Delap. Come in for free from Manchester City, could be a great little signing for us, already valued between 18 and £20 million. He is a young English striker, he's already got good aggression, good determination, he can play with both feet. Physically he looks really good, so hopefully in the Scottish League he will be banging in the goals. Our next signing is Juan Lu, the Spaniard, in for free from Sevilla. Unfortunately James Tavernier has retired, so we needed a right back to come in the starting slot. He will not be able to get the goals and assist numbers that Tav got, but we needed a right back, so we've got him in. He came in for free, valued between £6.2 and £7.6 million. Looks like a good right back, but we just need to hope that we can cover Tavernier's goals and assists throughout the rest of the squad. The last signing on another free was Gabri Veiga, a player that moved controversially to the Saudi Pro League, £34.5 million. He'd done quite well over in Saudi Arabia. We've got him for free, but we are having to pay him a hefty wage of £130,000. He still looks very good. He's 24 years old, which is why it was controversial to move to Saudi Arabia. Most players moving there are at the end of their career, wanting the one last payday. He was just about to break into the start of his prime and he moved there. But he's back in Europe now, fair enough for Rangers, but we will hopefully get the best years out of him. And tactically we are running again with the diamond. Why would we change it when it's done so well for us? If we quick pick the team, we can see now it's Tobias, Sterling, Buckman, Davies, Vale, Cifuentes, McTominay, Vega, Hadji, Luca and Danilo. So here we go. Our squad's quite thin this year as well, unfortunately, just because of the amount of money that we get. We're losing players, it's just hard to kind of keep that up. So I'm just going to clear that and I'll let the assistant manager take complete reign over this rebuild in terms of tactics, see who he plays there. And for our fixtures in the Champions League, we'll just take a look and see exactly who we are unfortunately coming up against this year. So in the Champions League we have Tottenham, PSG, Atletico Madrid, Galatasaray, Bayer Leverkusen, Dortmund, Wolfsburg and Club Brugge. So unfortunately I can't see us getting out of that, and as you know you'd no longer drop into the Europa League. So here we go. We have a good chance to win the Scottish League Cup without Celtic. Good chance obviously to win the Scottish Cup. We've already won the Super Cup and we're trailing in the league. Can we win 4 trophies this year? We'll go to the end of the season and see exactly how we finish up. So here we are at the end of the season. We already saw we won the UEFA Super Cup. We've won the Scottish Cup, beating Ross County 4-1 in the final. And in the Scottish League Cup we have beaten St Mirren 2-0 in the final. So we've already won a treble. Have we won the Scottish Premiership? And yes we have. We have finished 10 points above Celtic with 93 points. Lorenzo, Luca and Danilo both the top 2 scorers with 49 goals between them. Hadji with 15 assists, Wanlu with 14. The player that was coming in to replace Tav has done better than I thought. He's managed to score 4 and get 19 assists throughout the season, so he's been a great pickup. Tobias sitting 1 clean sheet behind Lunan, so we are getting better defensively this time. We'll just take a look at the Champions League and see how we did in the league phase when we were knocked out. We just missed out on goal difference after we beat Dortmund and Galatasaray, drew with Wolfsburg and then get battered by nearly everybody, including 4-0 to PSG. Now if we look at the squad stats, we can see Lorenzo Lucas got 41 goals, Danilo with 29, Delap in his first season with 23, and then you've got Gabby Vega here with 12 goals and 13 assists. In terms of the assists, Hadji with 25, a great loan return after the first season. Juanlu with 19 as we saw, and Alzey with 14. So the fullbacks really chipping in with the assists here. For the next season, we have £7 million to spend for our final season. So we'll go ahead, we'll see exactly how we can spend that money and see if we can continue this domestic dominance. So here we are at the starting point of season number 5. We can see in the Scottish League Cup we have Falkirk in the quarterfinals. Scottish Cup we've not started. We'll take a look at our Champions League fixtures in a wee minute, but we are already 2 points clear in the Premiership above Celtic, so hopefully that continues throughout the season. We'll look at our Champions League fixtures now, and we will take a look and we can see this time around we have Salzburg, Galatasaray, Roma, PSG, Ajax, Molde, Chelsea and Dortmund, so a pretty tough time of it now. So we'll go and we'll check the transfers, see who we've managed to bring in to try and win some more trophies. So the first player leaving us is Jack Butland. He's away on a free to Norwich. He just wasn't getting much game time for us anymore, and he wanted to go back down south, so we just thought we'd let him get some of his wages off the book. So he's away for free, back down to Norwich. A bit of a disappointing one is Juan Pablo Rodriguez. He is away to Astana. He is left for free. He didn't really develop like we wanted him to, so we just thought we would cut our losses, unfortunately, on him. The first player we've signed this summer is Ronnie Edwards. The Englishman has come in for £4 million from the Juventus Next Gen after he spent one season there. Looks like a good player, still 24 years old. He can play with both feet, so he can cover both sides in the centre-back position. He's now valued between £2.1 and £4.5 million, so around about what we paid for him. Hopefully he can be a good player for us this season. Next up is a loan signing, just to add some depth in the midfield, and it's Stefan Bajcetic from Liverpool. I think we've got an option to buy £45 million. We're never going to be able to afford that at the end of the season, but you know, it's a good player to have for the season ahead, especially with the European football and the 2 cups in Scotland. There's a lot of games to be played. And the last signing is 21-year-old Lennon Miller, in on loan from Chelsea, valued between £27 and £40 million. He moved to Chelsea a couple of seasons ago for £7.5 million, went on loan in France. We've now got him on loan. He can play a variety of roles in the midfield. He's got great natural fitness, great stamina, he's both-footed, great anticipation, good work rate. Again, just like Bajcetic, a depth option because you play a lot of games playing in Europe and in both Scottish Cups. In terms of tactical this season, why fix what isn't broken? We are going with the 4-4-2 diamond again, and we are going to quick pick, and we will see exactly who our best 11 is. So our best 11 is Tobias in goal, Juanlu, Buckman, Davies and Vale at the back, Raskin in the defensive midfield slot, Scott McTominay, Vega in the midfield, Hadji in behind Luca and Delap. So for this season, we are not going to stick anybody in because, again, I think our squad's good enough that even if you bring in a couple of other players, they'll be able to do a job for you, not a problem. So we're now going to jump ahead and we're going to go to the end of this last season in the rebuild and see exactly how we managed to finish this 5-season rebuild of Rangers. So we have it in our final season. We have not made the Champions League final, but we have won the Scottish Cup, beating Aberdeen in extra time, and we are runners-up in the Scottish League Cup, losing out to Celtic, unfortunately. In terms of the league, we have won the league again with 102 points, and we have been unbeaten in the league, winning 32 and drawing 6. We have Delap as the top scorer, with Luca being the third top scorer, 3 the top average rating, Hadji and Juanlu with the top assists. So I had my doubts about Juanlu's goals and assist numbers, but as you can see, last season we saw 4 and 19, this season 5 goals, 21 assists, so he is more than making up for his share of Tavernier's goals and assists. Looking at the players' stats, we can see Delap with 28 goals, Luca and Danilo each with 25, Hadji with 20 and Vega with 14, so a lot of players in the double digits. In terms of assist numbers, Hadji with 24, Juanlu with 21, Gabby Vega with 11 and Scott McTominay with 11 as well. Well, lastly, we'll look at the Champions League and see exactly if we made it through. We finished 9th in our league phase, beating Ajax, Roma, Galatasaray and Salzburg, drawing with Chelsea, Dortmund and Molde, and losing to PSG. I mean, losing's an understatement. We get battered 7-0. In the knockout playoff round, we managed to beat Sporting 2-1 in aggregate. We then get absolutely battered 8-0 aggregate by Manchester City. That's unfortunately just to be expected. So we have it, that is the trophies we've won this season. We'll take a look and we will see the all-time best 11 for this side. We can see we've got Tobias in goals, a back four of Tavernier, Buckman, Davies and Vale. Cifuentes in the defensive midfield slot. It was between him and Raskin for me the entire time. Cantwell and McTominay in the midfield. Hadji just in behind the strikers, and Luca and Danilo up front. Danilo with 134 goals for us and Luca with 102. Now, the last thing I want to check is the Hall of Fame, because I must be up there. If I look, we are the 9th best Scottish manager of all time, winning 4 Premiership titles, 1 Europa Conference League, 3 Scottish Cups, 1 UEFA Super Cup, 1 Europa League and 3 Scottish League titles. So there we have it, that's the end of this rebuild. If you want to take this rebuild on, I'll leave a link to my Patreon in the description and you can take it on from this point. With Scott McTominay as the captain and the litany of trophies we have won at this historic club. This has been the Flying Scotsman FM. Please leave a like, share, comment who you want me to rebuild next, and we will see you next time.